obviously hearing those guys talk, I mean, I think they're spot on. I thought it was a resilient win. It's really interesting. Had 14 turnovers. Freeman has 8 turnovers. He goes 1 for 6 from the free throw line the first half. Guy banks in a 50-footer at halftime to take a 1-point lead. There was a lot of things. We didn't play great at times, but I thought that we stayed together. Really resilient. Chemistry was terrific. Timeout, huddles, awesome. Guys just kept playing and really fought through a lot of adversity during the game. And not that I, didn't expect that. We've got an older group, really at the top with Tribble and Freeman's leadership, but those other guys lead as well, especially our older guys. You heard them talk about that, whether it's Sammy, whether it's Mike D, whether it's, Ali, whoever it might be. So we've got a lot of older guys that have won a lot of games that have an idea of what it takes, obviously, because it's hard to win. Those guys, somebody said that we've won, they just hit me with it was like 27 or something like that in a row, non-conference home wins or something like that. It's 28 now. I mean, and those guys that you just interviewed were a big part of a lot of those over, 5 years. Nate, 3 years, Sammy, 2, but Reek's been with us 5, Greg 5, Mike 5, Ali 4 the last 5. These are older guys, and the quality of that locker room is what really deserves a lot of that credit.
I mean, you guys were both, Bradley and you guys were kind of the same coming in. Started off hot, couple game losing streak. How big is this win for you guys moving forward as you play some more really good teams?
Yeah, we just keep playing really good teams. I joke around. I said, "Who's the knucklehead who put this schedule together?" Because we were gone for 3 weeks. That's the longest period of time in non-conference. We've not played a home game since I've been the head coach here. And we're only playing, I think, 5. Gave up 1 for the Rocket Mortgage game, which will be terrific to get an opportunity to play a great opponent in St. Bonaventure, play in Rocket Mortgage. So, but, usually we're playing, 7 home games or so in non-conference and then 9 league games, right around 16. One year we played 17. I mean, this year we're playing 14. I mean, that's a huge difference. But I thought this group needed challenge because of what I said earlier. We're an older group. And I think by the time we get through this non-conference slate, I mean, it's going to feel like about 11 of them, I think, 11 or 12 of them, hey, those are like league games. They're as hard as league games. And so I think we'll be, more ready is what I'm hoping.
So how do you kind of, explain establishing a culture? You talked about the 28 in a row, 39-1 also in those games during your tenure, non-conference home games. How do you establish that and make sure that your locker room just seizes that pride in home court runs?
I think you have to recruit quality people. I don't mean to make it overly simplistic, but there's a bunch of dudes in there that, they care about 2 things. They care about each other and they care about winning. They have personal agendas. We all do, right? I do, you do. But they put that secondary to those things. And that's what's unique about those guys.
And how hungry or motivated or whatever coming off those 3 games.
Yeah, I think that was big. I obviously, you hear Greg and those guys talking about it. I try to take it one game at a time and take it for what it is, but there's no question we haven't lost 3 in a row. Now, we weren't playing exactly bums in those 3 games, but nonetheless, it's still 3. They're not used to that. They don't like that, and then obviously last year we had played. Bradley's very good. Brian's a great coach, great program. And that's part of the reason we scheduled the home and home, because we know how good they are, how good of players they have, how well coached they are. And they beat us up pretty good over there right before Christmas, and our guys remembered that as well. You could hear them talking about it in the locker room. They had some pride. So, obviously it's a big win. And now the next most important thing is the next thing we're doing, which is a day off to get some rest and then try to come back on Thursday. I do feel like we've gotten better in practice over these. That's the one thing that's been good about having a couple 7-day breaks here. So we had Caymans and then a 7-day break in Vegas and then a 7-day break. It actually allowed us to practice, not just prepare strictly for an opponent. And so the things that we needed to get cleaned up that we got exposed on, one of which is turnovers. Tonight we had 9 in the first half. We played with 5 in the second half. We were much cleaner in the second half, but we're trying to get better. these guys, man, they're unbelievable. It's so fun to go to practice with them because that's what they want to do too. You know, they buy in.
John, as far as Enrique Freeman, we talk about him almost every game, but once again tonight, he led in almost every category, both teams.
Including turnovers, right?
And turnovers. Hey, yes, you got it.
His coach has got to do a better job, I think, putting him in position to not turn it over. We got to figure that out.
So when you look at the good and the bad, just how would you assess his play tonight?
Well, he just plays so hard. He's relentless. I thought, and we had good officials on the game tonight, but I thought the way they played, they were super physical. Quite honestly, I thought he was getting beat up before he ever caught the ball on multiple occasions. He just plays through it. I think what's most amazing on the stat sheet is the 4 blocks and 4 steals. I mean, that's from a guy who plays 4-5-5-4. That's really unique. Then you get 18 rebounds. I mean, he gets it near the basket. He's very efficient as he was tonight, 9 for 13. But we got to clean up some of the turnovers. Thought he let the guy take his ball. Thing about him is he'll be as disappointed or more so than I will because he doesn't like that. He wants to get better and wants to feel like he's contributing in that area that we've been trying to attack in terms of taking care of the ball. In his defense, he is the only guy that's regularly doubled and sometimes tripled. So when that happens, you might turn it over a couple times. If you were getting doubled all night in 30-some minutes, then you might throw it away a time or two. So, we got to just try to decrease that number a little bit, try to help him a little bit more.
John, I know you talked about the Ali situation, but how has your plan changed in terms of, how you've had to adjust, and who have you kind of leaned on the most out of your guys to kind of, I know you probably are doing it by committee, but to kind of, try to compensate.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, I'm not going to sit here. The easy thing to say, right, it's next man up and all that. But the reality of it is he's such a unique guy at 6'8", and that with guard skills and his intelligence and all that, that it does require you to, it is challenging. You play a certain way more than likely with him. You play a certain way without him. But having said that, it's not about the basketball piece for me. I mean, I got to see this kid every day, and the stuff he's going through is legit. I mean, it's his attitude lately here has been unbelievable. He's giving to his teammates. He's been a great teammate. He's trying to help all the younger guys. But as I said in the presser, and I mean it, I've got certainly great respect for the NCAA, but I don't think it's the right decision in this case. In fact, in my heart, I know it's not. In my mind, I know it's not. So we'll just continue to support and encourage him like he's doing his teammates right now. But he needs to be out there. I mean, that's as much a part of mental health as anything else. It's a big part of it. But like I said, you get thrown things in life. I think what I try to do is get the guys to understand that struggle's real. We normalize it. Like, I think sometimes you look at social media or you look at how people try to depict things that, hey, something's wrong with you if you have to deal with a 55-foot shot at halftime or, illness in your family or something doesn't go your way. Or we try to normalize that and say, no, I mean, you got to expect that. That's life. That's how it is. I mean, it's all in how we respond to it. You heard Hunter talk about that. We talk about that all the time. Event happens. A lot of times you can't control the event, but you can control your response. And it's challenging. It's hard. It's hard as adults, right? It's really hard. If I think back when I was 18 to 23 years old, and now with the COVID year, 24, some cases, I think it's even more challenging than when you're younger. But just trying to help those guys with that. We want to be a team that responds to events that are outside of our control the right way. And then I think that oftentimes you may get an outcome that you don't expect if you handle it that way. So that's kind of a part of who we are and what we do.
Is he more vocal or laid back watching the games, or is he picking spots in terms of?
He'll pick his spots, but I actually talked to him during the games. I mean, he's probably one of the top. I'd say I've been doing it 30 years. I mean, he's probably clearly in the top 10% of all players in terms of what he sees, IQ, intelligence. Man, he sees stuff, So I say, hey man, what do you see? And he'll give me a couple things, and more often than not, he's spot on, When we were playing UNLV and made the comeback there at the end of the game, he gave me one or two things, he really can see. He's really a smart guy.
With practice then, is he going against everybody?
Full go.
Okay,
We put him on. He'll play with those guys. He'll play against those guys. I mean, his attitude's been, considering the situation and the way he's handled himself, it's been really, really challenging for him. We're just trying to support him the best way we can. But, you know, his attitude for the most part has been really, really good. And I always say sometimes, you know, hey, I know how you feel. No, I really don't. I don't know how he feels. I'm not in his shoes. I try to understand, try to help him as much as we can. His teammates do the same thing, but, you know, it's challenging.
Hey, John, after obviously Freeman, Sammy Hunter and Nate Johnson were double-digit scoring tonight, and Johnson had 7 boards. So I mean, just what does each of those guys bring?
Yeah, I mean, I thought those guys played. Sammy may have played one of his most complete games in his career here. I thought defensively, offensively, you know, key shot making, was on the offensive glass, was talking, competitive. And then I think Thornton's minutes were really good. 27 minutes. I know he had 6 points and made 2 threes, but it was bigger than that. He pressured the ball. He got into the ball. He disrupted their offense. He ran our team with 1 turnover in 27 minutes from the point position. I thought it was his best game as an Akron Zip tonight. I thought he was really good.
How fitting was it that it was that, hustle play by Freeman that you know, the tap out that Thornton hit the 3.
Yeah. I yelled at him, make a play, KT, and he shot it from 25 feet and buried it, so at least he listened. No, I didn't know he was going to make it, obviously, but no, he was really good for us tonight. Played some great minutes.
And what is Nate Johnson doing well?
Well, Nate, a little bit, it's interesting, trying to get Nate to play with a motor and a competitiveness that you see with Freeman, which you can say that's a high bar because Freeman doesn't know any other way. But I'm trying to get him to do that because that's the key that unlocks the door for Nate, because Nate is very smart, picks up things really fast, great in scouting, knows what he's doing, is a great athlete, has good positional size for a guard, can shoot and pass and dribble, and you know, he's got a chance to be really, really good. He's a good player now. I think as he keeps going, he can get even better with the way he works. His work capacity's high. But a lot of it comes down to, you know, bringing it every day. And hopefully he's learning that, watching a guy like Freeman, watching a guy like Castaneda last year. Like, some of these guys are just like these everyday guys that bring it that's what we call, you see all the time, like on Twitter, those guys or myself will reference pound Akron guys. And people ask, what's an Akron guy? I said, guy that gives everything every day. You know, that's Freeman. That's Castaneda. So guys get to see that and be around that. And hopefully through osmosis, they can absorb some of it.
Coach, tonight was the program's 1,700th win. 303 of those belong to you now with tonight's win. Talk about like the excellence of Akron basketball and how it feels to be a part of it.
You know, I've said it before. One of the reasons I came here was because of that. I remembered at the previous institution I was at in league, you know, that just the battles and how good they were and how well coached they were and the environments in here when we came to play. And that was a factor, certainly, when they reached out to me and expressed interest, and I met with them. That's the picture I had in my mind, was the winning and the tradition of winning. And, you know, give a lot of coaches prior to our arrival, a lot of players prior to our arrival that are part of it, that have been trailblazers. You know, for me, in our era, I just talked to Christian this past week, Tyler Cheese through text, saw Channel Banks in Vegas where he lives. You know, I haven't reached out to Osiris Williams this week. I need to. I asked Christian how he was doing, and Dang obviously is in Australia playing. Those guys that came in that class, like Reek would tell you, he learned how to approach the game in large part from REAC. You know, other guys would tell you they learned how to work. They thought they knew how to work, but then they saw Castaneda and Jackson. You know, these guys for us are like our trailblazer class. They're the ones that started the last 4 or 5 year run here. So we're so grateful and thankful for those guys. But it goes even well before that, you know, with the great players that have played here, the great teams, great coaches. It's just been, you know, it's been a heck of a run. And we see it as a responsibility, too, that it's a privilege to coach here. It's a privilege to play here. I remind them of that all the time. and to continue to give to the university, to each other, and pay forward just like those other guys that came before us have done.
Coach, how important would you say the band is?
Well, I love the band. Love the cheerleaders, the band, dance stand, all those people, the AK Rowdies. It's what makes the environment in here a good one. They're awesome. Charles moved to put the students in one section 2 years ago, BD? Yeah. 2 years ago. It was great. And I appreciate the people that probably lost some season tickets with that. When you do a reseating, people get shuffled, and that causes some angst. And I want to tell those people I appreciate that happening, because I think it's changed the environment in the building, quite frankly. You combine the band, the cheerleaders, the dance team, the AK Rowdies, this place can be a hard place to play in, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. Our students are great. Yeah, but I love the band, love dapping them up when I come in, them and the cheerleaders to the court. Just want to let them know we appreciate them being here and the part they play in it.
Do you play a musical instrument?
I don't. I wish I would have learned when I was a kid. It's one of the things I have regrets about, Michael. I wish I would have learned. If I could pick one, I'm trying to think what I would pick. Maybe guitar, maybe drums. Yeah. My wife actually bought a guitar one Christmas and told me she was going to take lessons, which she did. Did we buy it for her for Christmas, Cam?
I think so.
I think we did, like a guitar and some lessons and all this what she wanted. That lasted for just a little while. Now, in her defense, she's running around chasing him and Kate and Connor, and I don't know how she does it, because there's a time that they call, in our industry, they call our wives basketball widows, so she does a lot. So to take a lot off my plate, and so I'm appreciative of that.
For your son Cam, just what's your thoughts on Enrique Freeman?
What do you think, Cam, about Reek?
Enrique, he's really nice to me.
Yeah.
He's really funny. He's a good player, good rebounder, good shot blocker. Yeah, good add-on to the team, just like everybody else.
Got a future.
A good person, yeah. He's right. Like the way Reek it's amazing. Guys like the Pied Piper, right? He treats people. And you and I've talked about this, Michael. His humility is what's unique about him and how good he is. It could be you guys, it could be the band, it could be students, it could be someone who's elderly, it could be a child, it could be, it doesn't matter who it is. The way he treats people, I hope Cam and Connor and Kate watch him and learn that, because that's how I'd want them to treat people, with great respect. And he's unreal. He really is. Really a privilege to coach him.